Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you're moving through a transition, awakening, or deep inner change, you're in the right place. Take a deep breath and let this message meet you where you are. Remember to take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. Nothing good comes out of forcing things to fit, and you know your story best. Trust your discernment. If you're new here, please know I cuss. Once I get going and these messages start flowing, I can't be 100% sure what comes out. So if you stay, know you've been warned. If that doesn't align with you for any reason, that's okay. Feel free to leave now and find another channeler more aligned with you. All right, so today's message, I am calling it the collapse of illusion. Ooh, hang on, water break. What is that? All right, I am calling this one the collapse of illusion and the emergence of authentic life. So the overall message to kick us off is there really is a profound transitional phase unfolding within the collective at this time. This is a period marked by mental confusion, emotional exhaustion, and the breakdown of familiar identities. All right. This has pushed many people to question the foundations of what they believed about themselves and the world. This moment does not represent the beginning of hardship. It reflects the aftermath of a difficult cycle where the lessons of that experience are beginning to transmute into deeper awareness. As outdated structures, this is internal and external, as these outdated structures lose their hold, new possibilities for authenticity, creativity, and emotional truth begin to emerge. All right, I'm going to break this down. This actually has a number of parts, but I'm going to break this down and we're going to go section by section. So the first is mental struggle and distorted perception. Many of the collective have recently experienced a period characterized by intense mental activity. Thoughts may have been dominated by worry, analysis, and attempts to anticipate or even try to control uncertain outcomes. So this stage often involves overthinking and anxiety, mental exhaustion, feeling trapped by beliefs about what is possible or safe, confusion about what is real versus imagined. A deeper realization within this phase is that much of the distress arose from distorted perception rather than objective reality alone. I'm hearing read it again. A deeper realization within this phase is that much of the distress arose from distorted perception rather than objective reality alone. Environments filled with pressure, manipulation, or conflicting narratives can create situations where clarity becomes difficult to maintain. Under those conditions, it becomes easy to internalize stories about yourself or your future that are incomplete or inaccurate. As your awareness grows, perspectives begin to shift. Assumptions that once seemed unquestionable start to dissolve, opening the door to a clearer understanding of reality. Y'all, I need you to be patient with me. I am not joking when I say in the last week I have released a lot of bracing in my body. So I've been releasing a lot of tension and probably more tension. I've released probably more tension in the last week than I probably have in the previous months combined. So it's been a little intense over here. And I say that just to say, as you release that tension, your body does a lot of adjusting. So I've noticed I've had a lot going on with clearing out my throat and stuff like that. So just once you open up things energetically in the body, things need to shift, things need to move, and all that kind of stuff. This process is not always pretty. So thank you for your understanding in advance. And we won't get this message out. So, all right, the next part is the lowest point, which is collapse of the old identity. Every transformation involves a moment when old structures reach their limit. And this point can feel like emotional burnout, loss of certainty, or the realization that parts of life that once felt stable are no longer sustainable. Common experiences during this stage include a sense that something inside has ended, even if you can't put your finger on it. There is that sense that something inside has ended. For some of you, you feel like something's dead. Same thing, different wording. Questioning long-held beliefs about identity or purpose, and even feeling temporarily directionless or uncertain about the future. Although this moment can feel devastating, it actually represents the lowest point of a cycle rather than its conclusion. When illusions lose their power, the identities built around those illusions begin to dissolve. This process clears the space necessary for something more authentic to emerge. And I just want to take a moment to say, if you feel like you are in this stage, in this phase right now, my heart really goes out to you as someone who has been through this. I know what that feels like. And it's one thing to say that it can feel devastating. It's a completely different story to actually be going through that experience and genuinely feeling that devastation. And my advice to you is to really be kind to yourself. I can genuinely say that with time, it did get better for me. And I really set the intention that it does get better for you as well. But a lot of that just needs time, which is honestly one of the shittiest parts of that stage. There is just no rushing through that process. So be patient. Try not to escape too much from that uncomfortable feeling. I just found the more I tried to run from it, sometimes you can dig yourself a deeper hole that you still need to get out of in the end. So be patient. All right. Next is recognition of harmful patterns. As clarity begins to return, Many people start to recognize patterns that previously went unnoticed. Some of you will clock this as the I can't see, I can't unsee what I see now type of phase. These patterns can appear in relationships, environments, personal habits, and they may involve dynamics such as manipulation or power struggles. Some of you may notice some real covert shit. And also some of you may realize you're the only one who sees certain people for who they are. If you're dealing with someone and something doesn't feel right, you're not meant to ignore that. Someone's trying to force shit, but it's not working. You don't feel peace around certain people. Some of you are learning to understand your gifts. You don't necessarily think of it that way, though that is your intuition. Those are gifts. Some of you may notice your body speaks to you more about people. Like you can't put your finger on shit. You just don't feel comfortable around certain people. There's just a certain, it's almost like a tug. Like there is like a tug. For some of you, it's subtle, and that's why you're trying to overlook it, but it's persistent. And I'm hearing that's not going away. I've talked about it in previous videos where the body is going to start giving you signals that your mind isn't going to be able to ignore, even if you wanted to. That is coming up. For some of you just had the aha moment that I was right with that. Some of you actually did listen to that video. Yep, that's your connection, babies. But yeah, your body is going to start letting you know who is in alignment and who is not, and manipulation or power struggles is not in alignment with you anymore. You're meant to leave that behind. So certain dynamics may also look like arrogance, masking insecurity, bitterness that developed after disappointment, emotional withdrawal or escapism. This is very interesting. They want me to go back to the arrogance, masking insecurity. Some of you are, how do you want me to phrase that? Help me ground that down. Some of you are just going to be, I'm just going to say it how it's coming through. Some of you are just going to start clocking the shit out of everything. Like you're going to know who's trying to fake it till they make it. Like some of you are going to just clock this arrogance, masking, insecurity like crazy. I'm hearing particularly with people who are in the public eye. Some of you have already been doing that, but some of you, it just feels like some of you are going to really, even if you don't have, in the spiritual community, they call it the eyes to see, right? Some of you may not actually be able to see with your third eye certain things, but you are absolutely clocking the fucking shit out of people who are still being performative in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not just talking about celebrities. I'm talking about like politicians, world leaders. Some of you are going to see this in your personal lives too. Like you just, somebody, I don't know why, but I'm hearing like this, I'm hearing this motherfucker talks this loud. so that he makes enough noise where people just don't actually see how fucking scared he is on the inside. I don't know who that's for, but some of you, and this is coming up because some of you are going to get really amused, like really amused by this. Because you're just going to start clocking it. And you're just going to be like, and it's just going to be so easy. I don't know why they're making me talk about that, but I don't know. It almost feels like the more you step into your authenticity, the easier the fakers get to spot. Like you clock them. And it's almost like their efforts to try to convince you otherwise are just amusing. It's amusing. And it feels like you're not being a dick about it. And that's not, I don't consider being a dick to be gendered. I don't know. I have certain words I really don't genderize. But you're not trying to be a dick about it, and like point it out to their face. I think it's just in the back of your minds. Like some of you are just really, some of you are going to start seeing that it is a spiritual world we live in your physical experience. Again, even if you don't physically see it with your eyes, you are going to start seeing or sensing that underlying architecture that some people function on, that some of these systems function on. And it's going to amuse you. Some of you are going to start clocking the game of life, and you are absolutely meant to use that to move appropriately. And whoever that's for, I fucking love that for you. I really do. Because once you start understanding this shit and you start moving and shaking in the right ways at the right times, shit starts getting real peaceful and easy. Not always up front, because most things don't like being found out, but you get to a point, you can get there. All right, let me get back to this. All right, some of these patterns originate externally while others develop internally as protective responses to past pain. For some of you, these were defense mechanisms. For some of you, these were coping mechanisms. All right. Recognizing these things restores the ability to make conscious choices. Instead of reacting automatically to circumstances, individuals begin to see where they can shift their behavior and boundaries. Again, that ties back to the channel. Some of you are gonna start seeing shit for what it actually is, even if you can't actually see the energies behind this shit. You're still, to a certain extent, going to be able to clock game, and you are meant to adjust your behavior and your boundaries. All right? Some of you need to use clocking this shit to set boundaries of what energy actually should have access to. If you know, you know. If you don't know right now, and that's going to be important, that will come to you and make sense when the timing is right. Ooh, I'm so excited for whoever that's for. All right, integrating the shadow. Healing involves more than identifying harmful influences. I cannot emphasize that enough. Not just because that's the message I got, but because that is 1000% my personal experience too. It is not enough to just identify the harmful influences. That is your starting point. That's not the end game. It also requires acknowledging the parts of the self that formed in response to difficult experiences. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to. It's not just enough to look at someone and be like, that was harmful. They did that to me. You have to acknowledge and own the parts of yourself that formed in response to difficult experiences. You must heal those. I'll dive into that a little more later. Traits such as defensiveness, cynicism, or the desire to control outcomes often develop as protection mechanisms. And I'm hearing there is no shame, there is no blame for developing these protection mechanisms. You did what you had to do to get through these difficult experiences. But those difficult experiences are coming to an end. And you have to face this. Rather than rejecting these traits, the path forward involves understanding and integrating them. You cannot embody wholeness if you do not face and integrate these aspects of yourself. You cannot do it. All right? And the reason why I emphasize shadow integration so much is because I know from multiple people who have been through this experience, if you do not turn around and face this shit, because it is shit, it will keep coming up in your experience. Either you face it or you keep repeating the same shit in your physical experience until you actually take a look at it. I don't know a single person who has been able to outrun their shadow. It does not work that way. Some of you are trying to run away from problems, and you find that shit keeps popping up and finding you like the fucking boogeyman. And you know what? That shit's not going to stop. Why? Because you are meant to turn around and face it. Some of you, your higher self, your oversoul, your team, they just got that shit on repeat. Because you cannot move forward and move on to the beautiful blessings they want you to get if you are trying to get around this shit. All right, and I'm going to be clear. If you're trying to do any type of spiritual bypassing, this is not the channel for you. It is not, because I'm not about that life. I haven't been about that in my experience either. In fact, one of the things my team has said they're most proud of me is the fact that even when I've been tired, even when I've been burnt out, even when I've been like, fuck, when does it stop? I have still turned around to face this shit. I have not done it gracefully. I have not handled everything that popped up well in any way, but I still face it and I still go within and I heal that shit. No one's asking you to do this perfectly. But if you are on this path, if you've identified with the messages before, either you integrate your shadow, you face those aspects of yourself, you learn from it, and you integrate it, or you can literally just repeat the same shit until your dying day. Because that is an option. But I've learned either you integrate your shadow or that shit just runs your whole life. You never truly have freedom. You don't truly get to co-create or consciousness, all that kind of stuff. So it's up to you how you want to do, but I want to be so very clear. Some of you are honestly trying to ignore shit. Some of you are trying to outrun shit, and you're not gonna. And I don't know whose ass I'm coming for in this message, but it is what it is. All right. When the shadow is integrated, these qualities transform. Your cynicism becomes discernment. Your arrogance becomes grounded self-confidence. Emotional detachment becomes healthy boundaries. Anger becomes clarity about personal values. Through this process, previously fragmented parts of the psyche begin to reconnect. That is not a joke, and I can tell you from personal experience. All right? When you do the shadow work, those fragmented pieces come back. Some of you haven't felt like yourself in a very long time. And it's because you need to integrate that shadow, baby. I'll talk about that more in this next section. Reconstruction of identity. Once old assumptions dissolve and shadow elements are acknowledged, the process of rebuilding identity begins. During this stage, many people explore aspects of themselves that were previously hidden or suppressed because you did not feel safe. You were in survival mode. You did what you had to do. Some of you feel like that part of you died. It did not. But they had to hide. They were suppressed. Integrating your shadow allows those aspects. It makes room for those aspects of yourself to come back. A lot of them go away because you didn't have room and you did not feel safe enough. All right? Some of you, I'm hearing some of you really miss your happy-go-lucky self. They're not gone. They're not gone. But the question is, how bad do you want them back? All right? People who once felt like outsiders may begin to recognize the value of their differences. Certain questions naturally arise. Like, who am I beyond the roles I learned to play? For some of you, I'm learning, who am I beyond the roles I was assigned? What aspects of myself have I been afraid to express? What talents or perspectives make me unique? All right, instead of conforming to expectations that once shaped their lives, people will begin to experiment with more authentic forms of self-expression. All right, the last message I posted with video, I wore contacts. I did my makeup. And I did my hair, and I actually got the download that for some of you, that was actually very jarring to see me look so differently. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually found it amusing because while that version of me, that aspect of me may be new to you, she's not to me. All right, that is actually me beginning to rebuild aspects of my identity that actually did go dormant. they were suppressed. I didn't feel safe enough to be seen as I normally would. I used to work in corporate America. I would walk out of the house at like 6:30 in the morning, full fucking glam, like hair done, makeup done, like lipstick, perfume, jewelry. I loved to wear my dresses with my heels because there was nothing quite as fun to me as working in a male-dominated industry, looking beautiful, smelling immaculate, look like fully in my feminine power, and still kicking ass and taking names in rooms full of men, and life just happened. And those aspects of me went away. And I'm actually really excited to bring those aspects of me back because you know what? She was a full fucking powerhouse. And she didn't need to be in your face. She didn't need to be aggressive. She just held presence. I mean, shit, I would be in the line for Starbucks. Guys would take one look at me and tell me to order what I wanted. They were just going to pay for it. And I would be like, listen, I'm going to be late for a meeting. I can't stay here any longer to talk to you. Like, you don't have to do this. And they'd be like, I don't care. I don't care. Order what you want. So I'm actually really excited because she was playful. She loved cute outfits. Sometimes flirted a little too hard, but was real good about talking herself back out of that. So, it's really, babies, I'm not going to lie. In my experience, it is worth it to integrate your shadow because you know what? Getting these aspects of me back, especially as the weather is starting to get nicer, woo, it just feels so good. It just feels so good. Like I knew she was there. I just had to unearth her. And the fact that she's actually coming back. And she's coming back with a force. I can really feel it. Once I get these energy levels back and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be a fun spring and summer. So it is worth it, babies, in my opinion, but make your decisions. Make sure they are decisions that you can live with and know that you can change your mind at any point. But I don't know. I'm passionate about this work. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. I'm not going to tell you I've enjoyed it, but I have found it worthwhile in the end. All right, let's jump back in. So emotional and creative awakening. As identity begins to stabilize again, emotional openness gradually returns. Many individuals feel a renewed connection to creativity, inspiration, and empathy. Experiences that once felt muted or distant begin to regain color and depth. This awakening can manifest through artistic expression, storytelling or communication, deeper honesty in relationships, appreciation for beauty in everyday life. Creativity becomes not only a form of expression, but also a pathway for healing and connection. They're being very clear there are beautiful things on the other side of this, and they are yours to claim if you are willing to do this. I'm hearing some of you are drowning in the bad times, and they don't want you to do that. You don't have to do that. They're saying ask for help. They want to help you. Some of you have more support than you think. You're not actually doing this alone, but it's up to you if you want to ask for that help or not. All right, humor and play as healing. After intense periods of struggle, moments of humor and playfulness often reappear. Laughter can provide relief from the weight of past experiences and allow people to see their circumstances from a wider perspective. And they want to be very clear. Healing does not occur only through seriousness or reflection. I've said it in previous videos. I will say it again. Laughing and play can be so incredibly healing. I know a lot of channels will preach subliminals and meditation and breath work and all that kind of stuff. And I'm very big on you need to balance the spirituality and the practicality, especially if you are doing that shadow integration. That shit can be rough. All right? You have to play. You have to have fun. Some of you need to jump on a trampoline. Some of you need to jump on a bed. Some of you need to have a fucking pillow fight. If it's nice where the weather is, have a water balloon fight. I don't give a shit how old you are. All right? Go do something fun. I actually laughed so hard at something yesterday. I cried. And I am telling you, the amount of bracing that left my chest was ridiculous. Like that one silly thing that was absolutely my sense of humor just hit me at the right time. And it just like, I'm telling you, my whole fucking chest, my whole rib cage expanded out. It was ridiculous. But it felt so good. Like some of you really need a good laugh. I don't know why, but someone needs to go to like a fucking candy shop and just go fucking nuts. Don't eat it all at once. We're adults, we get stomach aches from that shit, but like some of you need to tap in more to your inner child. Because you know what? A lot of that shadow integration work, actually it makes that playfulness more openly available. A lot of times your inner child, those playful, mischievous aspects of yourself don't feel safe to be presented. Some of you need to actually fuel your inner child. Think about shit you loved when you were younger and more carefree. Start there. Pick one. All right. So the healing also emerges through shared laughter, creative play, spontaneous moments of joy. All right. These experiences signal that vitality and life energy are returning. Trust that. All right. Reclaiming personal power. As clarity and authenticity grow, individuals begin to reclaim agency over their lives. Earlier stages of the journey may have involved feeling powerless or defined by external expectations. Gradually, a shift occurs towards speaking honestly about your needs and values, making decisions aligned with personal truth, recognizing your ability to influence the direction of life. And power in this context, reclaiming your personal power, it does not mean controlling others. It does not mean controlling others. It means taking responsibility for your own choices and your voice. I don't know who needs to hear this, But if you are trying to control others, you are violating their sovereignty. And that's the kind of shit the universe is not going to keep tolerating moving forward. It's just a no-go. Also, I don't know who the fuck this is for, but I'm saying this with my whole chest. If you are doing any magic of any kind, any hocus pocus, bippity boppity boo shit on other people, like if you're trying to do fuck shit like binding people, love spells on specific people and shit, your shit is gonna backfire spectacularly. I'm literally seeing an explosion in someone's face. Stop violating people's sovereignty. Focus on yourself. I don't know what that is, but if you're doing fuck shit magic to other people that would have them do things against their will, get the whole fuck off this channel right now. I don't ever want to be tapping into that shit again. All right, the challenge of emotional maturity. With the return of personal voice and clarity comes a new challenge. You need to learn how to express your truth responsibly. All right, this is about maturation of all forms. During transitional periods, it can be tempting to react impulsively when your boundaries are crossed or old wounds are triggered. Growth requires developing the ability to pause before responding, communicate thoughtfully rather than defensively, use honesty in ways that foster understanding rather than conflict. Mastering this balance transforms communication into a powerful tool for connection and clarity. They're saying practice makes perfect. You're not expected to get this right from go, but a good place to actually start, they're saying, is pause before responding, especially when your boundaries are crossed or your old wounds are triggered. All right, the initiation process. Some of you are going to already know this, some of you are not. I'm not going to assume everyone's on the spiritual path or not. So this entire journey, it resembles an ancient pattern of transformation known as initiation. Initiations traditionally unfold in three stages. The first one is separation, which often looks like leaving behind an old identity or worldview. There is a descent aspect, which is confronting fear, confusion, and hidden aspects of the self. Some of you are familiar with the clip-off. Yes. If you're not familiar with it, don't worry about it. And then the return, emerging with new awareness and purpose. The challenges experienced during the earlier phases were not meaningless suffering. They served as catalysts for growth and expanded your consciousness. All right, emotional alchemy. Transformation often follows a process similar to alchemy, where raw material is refined through stages of breakdown and reconstruction. Some of you are thinking about The Alchemist, the book. Yeah. Emotions such as fear, frustration, and exhaustion become the starting material for this transformation. Through reflection and integration, these experiences are gradually converted into wisdom, empathy, resilience, and creative insight. It may seem hard to wrap your mind around it, but the very difficulties that once seemed overwhelming are actually becoming the foundation for deeper understanding. And babies, that just comes with time. It just comes with time. You can understand the concept while you're going through it, but you don't truly understand it until some things you don't understand as well until you get to the other side and you look back. And that's kind of the beautiful and the equally frustrating part about this. All right, rewriting the narrative. A crucial part of this transformation involves revisiting the stories people tell about their lives. Past experiences that once appeared only painful or chaotic may reveal their role in shaping your strength and your insight. As perspective changes, you may begin to reinterpret your history in ways that highlight resilience rather than failure, learning rather than loss, growth rather than limitation. Reclaiming the power to define your own narrative becomes an essential step toward personal empowerment. You know what? I'm not gonna actually share that. All right. Moving beyond survival mode. Earlier stages. Oh, someone wants to know why? Why I'm not going to share that. I just feel like I've shared enough about my journey in this video, and I don't want to make it too focused about me. So I don't want to inject myself too much into this. So that's why. All right, moving beyond survival mode. Earlier stages of this journey were shaped by survival instincts. These instincts often produce behaviors such as constant vigilance, distrust of others, emotional withdrawal, attempts to control every possible outcome. As stability returns, attention gradually shifts away from simply avoiding harm and toward creating meaningful experiences. Life begins to move from survival mode to intentional living. I'm hearing you can do it. Some of you really feel like you're not going to be able to get out of survival mode. You can. You absolutely can. Some of you may want to set the intention that you get out of it and set the intention that the path to get out of it presents itself to you. What you do from there is up to you. But if you ask for that support, that will start happening. It may not be exactly how you expect it to. So use your discernment on that. But anytime I've been in rough situations and I ask for the path to get out of it to be opened, it does open, but I walked it. I did. I walked it. So, all right, collective and cultural healing. The transformation occurring within individuals also reflects broader cultural shifts. Communities are beginning to question rigid norms and reconsider what qualities deserve value and recognition. You are not walking this journey alone. None of us actually are. I've heard a saying, we're all just walking each other home. And I really do believe, to a certain extent, that is true. You are not doing this alone. All right, creativity, empathy, authenticity, and emotional intelligence are gaining importance in ways that challenge older systems built primarily on control or conformity. All right, some of you I'm hearing did not make the connection on why people's magic and shit potentially backfiring built on control or conformity. You cannot control others. Leave that shit behind. It's not going to work, and shit's going to backfire. All right, this indicates that the process unfolding is not purely personal. It is part of a wider movement toward collective healing and transformation. We are not the only ones doing this. And you're going to start seeing this on larger and larger scales as time goes on. All right, balance between mind and heart. The earlier stages of the journey were dominated by the analytical mind. This is thinking, worrying, and attempting to predict outcomes. True wisdom emerges when rational understanding, emotional insight, and intuitive awareness work together rather than competing with each other. You're trying to rebalance yourself out. The central symbol of transformation. At the heart of this process lies a simple but powerful truth. Beauty can grow from experiences that once seemed painful or destructive. That is part of rewriting your story. Just as flowers grow among thorns, meaning and creativity often arise from the lessons learned through difficulty. Baby, some of you are going to actually get to the other side of this and really be, to a certain extent, grateful for the shit that really tried to break you. And I know that may sound crazy right now, but that's the channel I got, and I gotta be honest, I gotta agree with it. I'm grateful for everything that really tried to break me this time, because you know what? That fear is just dissipated. I just look at things differently. It doesn't mean I let those people, places, and things back into my life. No, I learned those lessons. I'm not interested in repeating them. But I always thought I was strong before I went through this. Now I really know just how strong I am. And I'm not saying that there wasn't heartbreak or anything, but I'm convinced no one comes out of this experience unscathed. I think we all experience a certain level of heartbreak. And I think the big decision is, what do you do with that? All right. Some of you need to think about that. Are you going to let those experiences harden you? Or are you just going to make the decision that that's interesting? Some of you, I just keep hearing, are you a lover or a fighter at your core? Are you a lover or a fighter? Because some of you, you have a choice to make. If the experiences harden you and you turn to cynicism, you become more of a fighter. Because again, you're still just trying to survive. Some of you in your core know that you are a lover and you want to bring that aspect of yourself back. And that means that you need to go through that alchemy. You need to alchemize what you went through to get back to being a genuine lover. Are you a lover or a fighter? Now, I want to be clear. Just because you're trying to get back to your lover self doesn't mean motherfuckers won't be out here trying you. And you might have to slip back into the fighter just a little bit, but that won't be your default state. I don't know who that's for, but that came through. So, all right, let's wrap this up. So the closing message: a cycle of confusion, exhaustion, and identity collapse has pushed many people to confront illusions about themselves and their circumstances. Through that confrontation, hidden aspects of the psyche are being acknowledged and integrated. From this integration emerges a new phase defined by authenticity, creativity, emotional openness, and a more conscious expression of personal power. The journey is still unfolding, but its direction has shifted. What once felt like an ending is revealing itself as the beginning of a more genuine and meaningful chapter. You are the author of this new chapter, and what you decide to do is going to impact how that new chapter is written. But you are the author looking at blank pages, and they're asking you, what do you want? That's where they want me to leave it. All right, that is the message, babies. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, bye, beautiful beings.